episode.
Beetlejuice.
So we're live.
We're live. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Nerdy Up North podcast. It's a nerdy podcast and it's hosted by another nerds. I am one of your hosts, Sam.
And I am the other host, Paul. And welcome to not a 12-hour stream. We have recovered from last week.
I know. I came in. I haven't been in this room all week, and I came in and I was like, it's exactly how I left it last Sunday.
Still a mess. Still a kid.
Oh, gosh. Hi, everyone.
Yes. Hi, everyone in the chat. I hope you're well. Hope everyone's having a nice time. We are coming off what has been, how shall we put it? It's not been a tiring week. It has been busy.
No, it's been very busy. It's been very emotional.
Yes.
Emotional is probably the best word to describe the whole thing. It's been an emotional week, and I'm still feeling it. I'm still feeling, in all honesty, I'm still feeling it.
Still feeling her bones, yes. But just want to like a shout out before we start as well to say a big thank you to Heritage Auctions, to Taffeta, to Nikki, to everyone who was involved with the event and asking us to be like a part of it as well. So hope you're enjoying like the videos we're putting out, the photos, and we're going to tell a few stories about that later, a little bit later as well.
Oh yeah, you can't keep my mouth shut on that event now. It's all done with. But no, thank you so much to Heritage for looking after us while we were there, and the welcome that we got. Wasn't expecting it. People knew who we were. That was the most surrealist thing ever, and the fact that someone actually knew who I was, and it wasn't like, "Where's Paul?"
Yeah, that was the interesting thing as well. Like, we walked up and we were expecting, like, say, oh, like, who are you guys and stuff like that. And it was like, oh, it's the Nerdy Up North guys. It's like, we're there. They don't even know us up north and down south.
Yeah.
They apparently know us. But yes, big thank you to that. But today is going to be a very Oz-themed episode because we've been on our own journey to Oz. We've seen there's been a new big release in the last week or so. Yes, and we're talking about the grand old Wizard of Oz. So all these different things, different aspects will be discussed in tonight's episode.
Yeah. It's finally happened. It's taken 3 years, and it's not a case of he's beaten me down to do this. I requested to do this. I'm the one who said we need to do an episode of The Wizard of Oz, especially off the back of what we've just done. I have been completely taken over by the Ozians. It's crazy. I never expected it to happen, but I'm so pleased that it has. I'm going to do the disclaimer, and then we're going to get into this wild production of The Wizard of Oz, because I've done my homework for this one. Sure.
Yes.
Everything discussed in today's episode is our opinions and our opinions alone. If you'd like to discuss anything from today's episode, please come and join us on the Facebook page. Come and join us in the Nerdy Up North Discord or the comment section, where we can have an open discussion. But what we won't have is anyone coming for us and telling us our opinions are wrong, because we can all agree to disagree in fandom. So let's keep it fun, keep it kind, and keep the toxic behavior out of nerdism.
Thank you. Yes. So I know we were talking before. Give us the taglines for the lols.
Okay. So what you've got to take into account is that these taglines are from the 30s. Okay. So I'm going to read this one again. I've already done it once tonight, but I'm going to have to do it again. Amazing sights to see. The tornado. Munchkinland. Horse of a different color. Startling balloon ascent. Flying monkeys.
Yes.
Trees that talk and throw animals.
Animals or apples?
Apples. It would be funny if they threw animals. Apples. Thank you. let's go Over the Rainbow with Judy Garland in her greatest hits. That was from 1955.
Oh, well.
Another one from 1955, Great on the Widescreen.
On the widescreen, on the
From
big screen, guys, come and see us.
The big one. The UK.
Mhm.
The UK has the best tagline.
Right.
We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. Well done,
because,
UK.
Because the wonderful things he does.
Newspaper ad from 1939. Songs will be sung and danced to.
Right, songs would be sung and danced to.
Danced to, yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, this is from 1939. This is a newspaper ad. The book that 80 million read, the play that 941 cities saw, now the greatest Technicolor show world miracle since Snow White.
Right. And it's interesting that you said Snow White, because you said an interesting fact before we went live.
I did. If you don't have Snow White, you don't have the Wizard of Oz.
No.
When Snow White came out, studios were like, oh, shit, we can actually do movies based off children's books.
Yes.
Well, I never. And the Wizard of Oz came to... Now, I'm going to get these names right, and I'm only going to say them once, and then I'm going to call them by their name that you're all going to know them from, which is Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, which is MGM.
Yes.
And they bought the rights for Baum's. Am I saying that right? LFrankBaum's.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, they bought it from Samuel Goldwyn, who is the G in MGM. Then the two of them kind of like went in on it, and they had the rights to the Wonderful Wizard of Oz. And that's how your production started in 1938.
And that's when the magic started. So
that's when the chaos started.
So before we start getting into the chaos, let's take it back a little bit for the week that we've had and why we are doing this episode as a whole. Okay. So me and Sammy went on a little bit of a journey. We went down the Yellow Brick Road. I would say it wasn't the Yellow Brick Road. It was the Newcastle to London King's Cross train.
It was a metal steel road.
Yeah.
Great train ride though. Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
felt really easy.
Yeah. Everything, and I know it sounds weird saying this. Everything in the journey went well. We literally weren't late for anything. We didn't miss any trains, any transports. Everything kind of went to plan, and like almost like an 18 line there. I love it when a plan comes together.
It's almost like we stood in the middle of Leicester Square and went, "Are we just figuring? We're okay, aren't we? Like we're fine. Like this is everything seems to be falling into place. We're good."
We're not getting ourselves into too much trouble yet.
No. Honestly, it was the easiest. It was easiest traveling down there. Even getting into London was even more easier. Walking around the place was absolutely fine, apart from when I shouted at Paul for apologizing to somebody.
Yeah, I was too northern. People walking into us.
She had her phone locked up to her face and wasn't paying attention. She shouldered him and he apologized, and I just shouted, "No, you don't apologize to her."
So Sammy's trying to fight Southerners. That was the crack down south.
Hey, London loved me.
But yeah. And because I know we can talk about the adventure, but you can watch the vlog that'll be out tomorrow. Cheap plug. But Sammy's face, like she was an epitome of calm all the way through this adventure until one moment. And this one moment, I've never seen Sammy. I don't know. It was a mixture of pure joy, pure shitting herself, and like well and truly seeing someone's arse drop out and hit the floor.
Yeah.
Basically, we walked past...
all while I was going to combust at the same time.
We walked past the Heritage Building, like, because they've got a nice fancy office in the posh area of London. Like, it was very fancy. And we saw what was inside. Because we generally weren't told what was going to be there, other than the ruby slippers.
we speculated,
Yeah,
but
we thought this could be it because this is part of the lots.
yeah.
Sammy walked past because the Ruby Slippers wasn't out there because with us being northern, we were very early.
Well,
And
we would like that. We were just getting our bearings. We don't know the area, and it was almost too good to be true how close it was from the hotel.
mhm,
So we were like, let's just go down. If we're hanging around, that's fine. But at least we're there. We know where we're at. It
mhm,
literally was round the corner from where we were staying. Like it
yeah,
wasn't. It didn't take 2 minutes. But yeah,
yeah.
we were there super early.
So we walked past, and Sammy saw a certain shield,
It,
and saw the blue and the white and the red, and literally she went, "It's there." Like, and then she kind of like scurried past it as quick as possible. She was like, "I need time to bring myself thing." She wasn't. She was like, "Fuck everything else." It was the fact that not Kevin,
I know.
Kevin was there as
Caps.
well.
Kevin
Um,
was there.
Captain America's shield was there. With her being the ultimate fangirl, so I went, "Yes, this is going to be an interesting night." And then we got to the building. And it was hilarious. This is just pure what we're like. We were talking to the security guard who was completely lovely, absolutely having a bit of banter with him.
So sweet.
My name was on the list near the top, so that was quite important. And Sammy was panicking because her name wasn't on the first sheet.
But if he was paying attention, all the names were in alphabetical order.
Yeah,
So if it's the first name that is in alphabetical order, I am going to be right at the bottom.
but why
Like
is mine
it's
near the
not.
top though? Paul Watson.
Oh well, that's just blew me. We
Yeah.
concept out the idea. Never mind. I was there.
Yeah. So Sammy's name was on the second sheet. But even before we found Sammy's name, the lovely Nikki walked past and went, "Oh, it's the nerdy up north guys." And we were like,
They're good. They're good.
I was getting shit, we're known.
Hmm.
And when we walked in, I did have a bit of a cry because it was being in the presence of something that you would never basically dream of being in the presence of. And when we were talking about Nikki and finding the story behind these shoes as well, these shoes were stolen. They'd been buried underground for a number of years. Um, how much they are expecting to sell for? They are expecting to get about 5 million for these shoes.
Yeah.
No.
These are going for a pretty penny. The shoes alone were spectacular. The hat
Mhm,
blew me away. Like I could not stop standing next to this hat. Like if I could just stand next to it, I was
mhm,
fine. The one item that didn't get as much love as
mhm,
the other two because it was very like they were the centerpiece of
mhm,
the whole thing. But the wig, the
mhm,
original blonde wig, which I will get into
mhm,
when we get into the movie, was that wig was on Judy Garland's head and only Judy Garland's head. Nobody else's wore that wig. And
mhm,
it was in such pristine condition. Like you could literally take that off the mannequin
mhm,
and put it on and it would look
mhm.
perfect.
Yeah.
Um yeah, that was something to behold. Even just seeing the first edition
Mm-hmm.
book,
Yeah. Like
that was like mind
crazy.
blowing.
But
But
when
there
you're
was
walking
oh
around the
god.
room as well, like your eyes just shut over and you saw
Oh yeah.
Kevin's outfit from Home Alone.
That was it. That was the one and this I don't think the reaction that we both had, I don't think we were expecting it
Yeah.
because I just kept going, standing in front of Kevin's outfit from Home Alone. Like,
And
this is crazy.
I was kept saying, do the impression, doing the impression. Sammy was like, no, I'm not doing the impression. So that was, yeah. But then,
Yeah.
like, the other thing that kind of blew me, like, the two other items that, like, I know Sammy was over the moon with the Marvel stuff, but the two other items
Oh yeah,
that,
it was cool.
like, I was instantly transported back to to my childhood when I saw the golden ticket from Jane Wilder's The Willy Wonka, and I start singing, "Cheer up, Charlie, give us a smile," and then all them songs and memories start flooding back, and then Sammy tried to upset us again when we stand next to the Jumanji game. I went, "Robin Williams has touched that," you know. I was like, "Fuck off."
I was four glasses down at this point,
Oh.
and, I kind of like leaned into him and just went, Robin Williams touched that, and he literally leaned back and went, "You fucking kidding us? Are you doing that to us?" And I was like, "Yep."
And we found out Sammy likes champagne, and especially when it's free champagne.
And hey, they don't do measurements at
No.
all. I only had four. That was enough. Like I was do you know what? I'm glad I did, because it kind of I wasn't in my own head anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like the minute we walked in there, like before I'd had a drink, like I felt like I was in my head just ever so slightly, and I was like, don't be the weirdo you know you are. Just, you know,
Right.
blend in with these people.
Yeah.
It's you can do this, and I did.
But it was a weird, well, not weird experience is not the wrong word, because you go down and it's a fancy event. You expect to, like, well, me, you expect to stand out like a sore thumb. Well, I did stand out because people were picking
But
us out.
you've been there though.
Yeah.
But you've been there though.
Mm,
You've done one of these before, so your expectation of it is like, oh shit, like you're
mm,
measuring it to how it was the last time.
mm.
This is I feel like this crowd was just, there was nothing intimidating about them whatsoever.
The crowd was there with just pure. I think last time, not saying Game of Thrones one was bad, but it was people that were there for the party. People were
Yeah.
there for like the items this time.
I'm saying, yeah, like I was there.
These were movie fans. These were fans of The Wizard of Oz. These were people who, as I said, are like nerds like us. So we could have
Mm-hmm.
conversation. It was easy to talk with someone. Like some guy come over and start telling us he was good friends with Brian Wilson from the Beach Boy, and I was like,
Oh,
"What the
see
fuck?"
this.
I was like, "What the fuck's going on in my life these days?"
Hey, it's not half as bad as the conversation I was having with was it Mark?
Yeah, Mark,
Um,
new best
I
friend.
nearly I nearly dropped my wine glass about several times. That man has stories.
Mhm.
They are very, very interesting. Um, it was it
Spoilers:
was
Sammy might be getting John Landis on the podcast.
he's Mark's best friend. Um, and hopefully he doesn't ask to watch the back catalogue of Monsters Up North. Or even this one. Don't
Yeah.
watch Trading Places.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was an absolute sweetheart. He was a really, really kind man who was just incredible. I think he was just excited to talk to someone about different, because it's not every day someone will go Creature from the Black Lagoon is one of my favorite films, and then he
Mm.
gets to tell his story of how he's met
Mhm.
Rico Browning and Julie Adams, and
Mhm.
yeah, so it was a
Sarah
special
Karloff.
moment. That just I think that was the point I nearly dropped my glass, is when he said he spoke to Sarah Karloff, and I was
Mm.
like, shit,
Yeah.
that's Boris's daughter. Shit.
But yeah,
It was fun.
it was an experience, and one that will stay with me for a lifetime as well. So,
Hmm.
and I will say this live on the podcast as well. Sammy does not snore. The rumors of Sammy snoring is not real. So it's there. Um, but yes.
True story.
True.
Oh my god, we have to talk about the hotel room.
So how many
We
beds
have
was it?
to.
Was
We
it
have
seven or
to.
six?
Seven. No,
Seven.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the double.
So
Six.
there was so the double so it had seven people could have stayed there with the double bed and stuff like that.
Yeah, so yeah, 7 people, five
Mm,
five mugs. That's what blew what got me. So we went to the hotel and
mm,
we had to go up a flight of stairs. Now, bearing in mind we had just walked
mm.
from Leicester Square down to where we needed to be. It was about a good 30-minute walk. Did Sammy take her bed foot? No, I did not. Um, I did not, Lee. But
Mm,
yeah, we had to walk down and then we had to walk up these flight of stairs to it was just so narrow. Like
mm.
such a narrow place to walk. And the guy was like, "Are you staying out late?" I'm like, ish. And he was like, "How many flights of stairs do you want to walk?" And I was like, "Well, I didn't want to walk that again, that's for
Yeah.
sure."
He
And
was
he
kind
went,
of
"Right, well,
chuckling
you
at
know."
us. I was like, I actually said,
I know.
"Look, I'm a fat lad. I didn't want to be walking up these flight of stairs because it wasn't comfortable and it wasn't
It
nice."
wasn't.
Yeah,
And it was steep. They were very steep.
yeah,
And he went, "Well, you're not actually staying here. You're
mhm,
staying over the road." And me and him were like, "Oh, okay."
yeah.
And he went, "So what you need to do is walk out this door, walk straight over the road, and there is your hotel. It's number da, 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 you go in." And so we do. We walk up to we go over, we walk up the stairs, and we open the door to 7 beds.
And this at this point, Sammy freaked out. She was like, "Is this a hostel?" She went, "Am I going to get murdered?" And she started looking at all the escape rooms. Um, the
I
bathroom,
was like, "Lock the fucking door,
the bath,
push a bed up against it.
the
We've got
bathroom,
plenty."
the bathroom and toilet was an interesting situation. It was just like two of the smallest little cubicles. Like, the toilet was just in a straight line. It was just, yeah, but
It
that
was
was the thing.
long,
But it was
wasn't it?
clean. The sit
It was
the way.
clean, it was tidy,
Mhm,
um, it was perfectly located. Like location of it was absolutely perfect. But yeah, the whole bed situation really freaked us out. Like I was wanting to move beds to like put up against the door.
But the funny thing is,
um,
though, Sammy did change beds a number of times. She was like, I'm going to sit in this one when I look out the window and be nebby. I'm going to
yeah,
sit in this one when I watch the TV. Then she had a sleep
yeah.
on. So she was a princess of many beds, was our Sammy.
Yeah, I moved around a lot. I could have quite happily just sat on the floor as well. Like, no, it was clean. It was tight. It was just the bed situation just threw me right off.
And the one thing that did throw me about the whole weekend as well, why does London not have a phone signal? You expect London to
Oh
be the
my
most capital,
god.
like we had to wait to leave London to get 5G again. It was
Mm-hmm.
so strange because we
I
we
think I
tried to
used
do
all
a
my
few
data.
yeah, we tried to do a few lives. We tried to do like a video outside, and there was there's no video signal of phone signal anywhere. So that was strange. So London sort your signal out. But
Yeah,
yes.
it was weird. That one was weird. We didn't have Wi-Fi because we weren't close enough to the hotel to get Wi-Fi.
Didn't even have a TV signal. I had a portable aerial that we had to wiggle around to get to watch E4. Uh,
Oh my God. And Paul also got you when we went back because there was a pizzeria
mhm.
underneath, underneath the hotel on the other side of the road. We went there. Oh, that pizza was absolutely
It was
beautiful.
nice pizza, yeah.
Fresh made pizza.
Mhm.
And I made Paul watch a death program.
So it was like, oh, this program's about death. Do you mind watching it? I was like, Sammy, I'm fucked. Watch whatever you want, love. And the sitting there chuckling away, going, oh my god, oh my god,
Oh my
like.
God, I was like totally giving I was giving him like information on it, like he was actually interested in it.
It's fine. I was busy editing stuff like from what we've done anyway, but I was just
Oh
like,
God, yeah. He has not stopped
mhm.
from the minute we got on that train to the even now he has not stopped. The work that he is doing for the videos are absolutely breathtaking. I really hope you all appreciate the hard fucking work that he has put into these, and that goes to Heritage as well, because they are fucking spectacular.
It's fine. Just don't shout at us for if we don't get many views. We're doing well. We're doing better than the Game of Thrones ones. We're getting more views on these ones, it seems. But just to announce as well, we have hit another milestone on the Instagram, on the gram, shall we say? We have
On the
just went
gram.
past 8,000 followers, so we are getting marching on towards that 10,000. We've just had a big burst of loads of not cinema, theatre folks. So we are getting a lot of nice people who probably like the Wizard of Oz. But yeah,
Yeah,
that
so your Instagram gets the theatre folk. My TikTok for Nerdy Up North gets the paranormal folk. I
right.
have them all over there.
It's fine. I've been called a camp queen today, so I'm quite happy with that. I'll be a
Oh, well,
queen for the day. Um,
thank you, Jake, for reposting everything. That's so kind. Thank you.
Everyone should be doing it. I'm judging you
Yes,
all.
yous are
Everyone.
all on TikTok. Not you,
Yeah,
Donna. I know you don't go on very often, but Lee,
yeah.
Beth, get.
Beth is a machine. I'll give Beth her dues
Yeah,
though.
that's true. That is true.
Um, Also, before we
Mm,
talk about the Wizard of Oz as well,
mm,
we've both seen a film this week
we
because we've
have.
been busy. So
We
oh,
thought, why not add
yeah.
to this week? Before we saw that film, we actually saw so much wicked
Mm.
promotion around London. We even stood outside of the Odeon where they had the premiere.
Mhm.
It was
Sammy was fuming. There was a popcorn trucks. There was a perfect picture opportunity, big sign saying premiere of Wicked and all that. And we stood there for about 5 minutes for this popcorn delivery truck to fuck off. And it didn't. She
no
was kicking off saying, I couldn't,
fucking
that's
raging.
ruined me picture. But yeah.
Absolutely raging. We went down Bond Street where all the posh shops are, like Chanel and Louis Vuitton and Harry Winston, and they had all these, and Cartier had all these amazing, like,
Mm,
we get a Phoenix window, they get a fucking, an event on
mm,
there in their streets. And we were walking down them, and every single one had a fucking van outside of them. So every picture that we've got has a van. So when I saw this popcorn van outside the Odeum, my brain was about to explode. The best part about it though is if when you're looking at the Odeon and you're looking at this huge Wicked poster, which is just absolutely beautiful, you don't realize Batman is
Batman.
standing on the top of the building, staring down at you.
Yeah, Batman. We saw a few statues, which you'll see in the video tomorrow. But yeah, what an experience! Like London loves Sammy. Sammy was very much in her element.
I got a lot of love in London, and it was lovely.
Where I looked basically like say where we were walking down the posh area, even the tramps were looking as why are you here? You like you're not even good enough to be a tramp here.
Actually, one there was actually oh bless this homeless man. He just turned around and went, "Am I invisible?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, make it stop, make it stop."
Yeah.
It even didn't end in
Mhm.
the that day. It was when we got to Costa. I went to Costa to go and grab a cup of tea on the way home, and
Mhm.
I went to the lady. She says, "Oh, how you?" She goes, "You all right?" And I went, "Oh yeah, I'm good. How are you?" And she went, "I'm very good, pretty eyes." And I was like, "This is great. I'm loving this. I love this." I got chatting to two old ladies in WH Smith. I was recommending books to them. Like, I had a good time. London loves me.
So, so the moral of the story is go to London with Paul and you'll have a good time. Because last time Jake went, he got hammered on free champagne as well. So
Oh,
it was everyone had a good time and good chance. But yeah,
but we did go and see Wicked this
yes,
week.
we did, and I like I was goosed. I shouldn't have even seen it, but literally got back off the train got back in Sunderland about 4:30, and we were on the 6 o'clock show on the same
Yeah.
day because I've been dying to see Wicked since the release, and with everything that's been going on, we've not had a chance with Nick working. It's just been uh. It's been a nightmare to have any free time and personalized time as well. Hello, government cheese, all the way
Yeah,
from Iowa.
hi.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. I so I've seen the stage, so I think 4 times. I've seen it in London,
What?
Victoria, twice, and I've seen it in Sunderland twice. I was nervous about the movie, but I think
Can imagine.
hearing all the good things come out was like settle them nerves.
Mm.
The movie lives up to the hype. Like visually, acting wise, song wise, everything in this movie is perfect. And I've seen some good movies this year. This is my top movie of the year by far.
Yeah, this is my favorite movie of the year. This has hit me like a ton of bricks. I have never been interested in Wicked. I didn't know the story, the songs. I've heard Defying Gravity, but who the fuck hasn't at this point?
Mm-hmm.
And again, because it's associated with the Wizard of Oz, I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, but seeing the trailer. I
Mm-hmm.
think it was for Deadpool and Wolverine. I saw the trailer. I was like, my heart was racing, like, and I could feel tears building up as I'm just watching a trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've been watching and very much loving all of the press tours that they've been doing for this movie, all the red carpets. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
it's just been spectacular. And then I got a chance to see it last night.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not gonna lie, my experience was a little bit blown for us, but doesn't that's just because of where I went to see it. But it doesn't stop the
Mm-hmm.
spectacular
Mm-hmm.
cinema extravaganza that I witnessed last night.
Certainly, and if you've seen the Wicked on the stage show, we all know that the moment is defining gravity. It is one of those moments that stays with you, lives with you, and like when if you get a good performance on stage, because like I've seen it 4 times, three
Mm-hmm.
times has been well, two's been amazing, one's been okay, and one was a bit. But it
Mm-hmm.
depends on like say the performance and if they get into it as well. This one in the movie it times everything right. It hits every note perfectly. It emotionally gets you invested and it drags you along. And
Oh,
when like say when we hit the song and she defies gravity, it's it's everything you want it to be and more.
and the most iconic thing about this whole film is that they sang everything live.
Hmm.
So there's no everything that you see. So when Cynthia Eriva is being dragged across the skies and
Hmm.
singing away, she's doing it live.
Hmm.
When she's been in a harness, being dragged all over the place, that is her voice that you can hear. It's
Mm,
it has made the experience so much better that it
mhm,
isn't a soundtrack that you're listening to. It's
yeah.
actually them singing.
Mhm,
It's crazy.
yeah. And
But Defying Gravity got me.
Jake's just asking the question because he said, "Will Hollywood remake The Wizard of Oz?" The problem they've got with because they've wanted to remake The Wizard of Oz so many times in the past is the rights to not just the movie but the individual things in the movie that
Mm,
they can never get. That's why certain aspects of the original movie you can't get, like the rights to the Wizard of Oz. The story is in one thing. The rights to the Ruby Slippers is another. So
be-
you can't
ah,
use the Ruby Slippers in because I know in the original book the Ruby Slippers
Silver.
was silver, as we'll talk about the film. But I'm sorry, I'm just got excited by the question.
Hmm.
So someone I don't know who has the rights to the Ruby Slippers that's not in the movie, so they can't make the Wizard of Oz. That's why when they done the James Franco, they couldn't use the Ruby Slippers, and they couldn't use certain characters in the movie as well. So
Well,
it's a big clusterfuck basically.
just like the production of the
Mhm,
movie we're about to talk about tonight.
yes. So
Huge clusterfuck.
so before we start talking about all the interesting and weird facts, I just want to say The Wizard of Oz is my comfort movie. I have, and I was bless poor Sammy having to listen to this again, because I was telling Nikki about it when we were in front of the Ruby Slippers as well. I have got so many good memories to The Wizard of Oz. This was the movie that made me fall in love with cinema. This made me fall in love. This movie made me a nerd, basically. If I didn't watch The Wizard of Oz when I was a kid, I probably wouldn't be as mental as I am now. Because as soon as I saw it, it was like love at at first sight. Seeing something going from sepia color to Technicolor was just mesmerizing. I can imagine what that would have been back in the like say the time when this came out. Was it
That's
1939?
1930. Yeah,
Uh,
1939. The thing is though, you
mm,
can't
no,
because it's weird how our brains will never be able to take in that idea of sepia tone to color. We
I'd be
just
like, "What is this witchcraft?"
exactly burn it,
Burn the
burn
film.
it down.
So that took us back. Like when it comes to Wizard of Oz, my wife loves the Wizard of Oz. She's got a Wizard of Oz tattoo. We like say walked down the aisle to somewhere over the rainbow. She wore ruby red slippers on our wedding day. The bridesmaid had not like individually uh each color from the rainbow. That was the thing. They could have any dress style or anything they want. It just had to be a certain color to match the theme. um yeah, this
Yeah.
movie is, and again, this is why I if we got to talk with it, I would be happy. Like I say, I'm beaming now, but
Hmm.
I knew this wasn't Sammy's bag, so I was never going to force Sammy or make Sammy endure the love fest that I would probably pour over it. But and I would be okay with that because it's my little thing.
It's yours.
It's mine.
Yeah,
It's something thing.
it's
But
yours.
and if I do get to share it, fair play. I'm happy to share it.
Yeah.
Me gushing over
I
this movie.
I fully understand where you're coming from with that. And Paul told that lovely story about his wedding to Nikki, and I just come in with I got married on Halloween in black. Like
Yeah.
proper little rain cloud Eeyore in the corner. Yeah, no, I've I don't want to say like I've done a 180 on this. I fully understood that this should be a movie I absolutely love. It's
Mm,
got Judy Garland in, who I adore. It's an old movie. I love classic old movies.
mm,
Um, Even if I didn't know what I know now, I knew Technicolor was involved in this. That should have interested me from the get-go.
mm,
But I have for some reason, it's almost like I've been anti
mm,
Wizard of Oz, like, and then I've created this stance for myself, and I'm like, right, I'm sticking with it.
mm,
I have been completely broken down. And it starts with Wicked. It literally
mm,
starts with when I saw that trailer for Wicked. And
mm,
then obviously leading up to what we've just done.
mm,
Um yeah, I've been mellowed. How but how I'm also looking at approaching films as well. Like
mm,
I've said on a past episode, I'm not here. Who am I to go and shit on somebody else's love of a
Hmm.
movie just because I don't get it?
Hmm.
So this is where I am right now, and I haven't just done my research for this
Hmm.
episode. I have gone into articles. I have. I'm not just using IMDb, is basically what I'm saying. I have done deep, deep depth in research for this.
It's one of those movies that it is interesting because there's so much stuff, not just about the movie itself. There's the production, there's behind the scenes, there's the lore, there's the legend, there's the rumors, there's the
And
lies,
there's a
there's
lot of them.
yeah. Um, but just taking it back now, the process to make this movie, as you said, the Technicolor, it's a process now that will never be done again
Can't replicate it.
because the chemicals and everything that was involved doesn't exist anymore.
No, so this movie is totally shot in sepia tone.
Yeah.
The whole thing is in sepia tone
Hmm.
from start to finish. There is a moment, there's only two times that Judy Garland is not Dorothy.
Hmm.
And it's how they transition from sepia tone to Technicolor.
Hmm.
They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. There was something to do with they couldn't do it where they needed her facing, they needed her in the color shot as opposed to the sepia tone one. So they
Hmm.
have her standing double in the sepia tone, and then she is the one who walks out the door.
Hmm.
And it's yeah, it's yes, a lot of asbestos in this as well. Which I'm gonna put this out before I start talking. As much as I've done articles and readings on this, a lot of stories on this movie change from time to time.
Hmm.
The asbestos one, especially with the snow,
Hmm.
apparently that's not true,
Hmm.
but apparently it is true. This
It's I think it's who tells the story type
it's
thing. Yeah.
almost like an urban myth. Like
Yeah.
the lot of Wizard of Oz, like this the stuff that I've read about it almost feels like there's just so much urban myth around it. So I have done my best to try and find
Mm.
out as much as I can that has been the same information, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
So let's do a little bit of a information that we know, like that we found out. So a lot of rumors for this movie, like the one that always goes in hand in hand, where the when they're going down the evil forest, where in the background you see a munchkin be like when the munchkins or someone has hung themselves. That is false. That has been
So
proven.
false.
That is not been there. It was something that was added to a YouTube video, and then the
Yeah,
legend kind of
it's
grew. That is the big false one.
yeah.
Um, the Munchkins. It depends on which story or who you talk about, because I know the Munchkins were very close closet themselves. They were very close together, and they didn't like many things, but they did have parties. There was outrageous parties, but again, this was the
But it
1940s.
wasn't, it wasn't. So there was a group of German Munchkins who came.
Mm-hmm.
They are the party goers. It
Yes.
had the rest of them
Mm-hmm.
kind of didn't. Then they did stick together.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time maybe outside of vaudeville where there was a lot of them in one place at one time.
Mm-hmm.
They had a lot to share with each other.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot of stories of
Debauchery.
nasties. Yeah, yeah, let's use that word. Going on.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I have found out,
Mm-hmm.
and again, this is just stuff that I've read. I'm not saying it's for like it's
Mm-hmm.
it's just what's the word I'm looking for? It's not. I'm taking what I have from the
Mm-hmm.
internet. If I'm wrong, I'm really sorry, but the rumor mill started with Judy Garland
Yeah.
because she was getting a little bit sick of the same questions constantly over and over again. That
Mm-hmm.
she just started making shit up.
Yeah.
And one of them was the stuff about the Munchkins. They didn't take too kindly. Some of them have a sense. Some of them had a sense of humor about it.
Mm-hmm.
There's one who I have. I'm just gonna go down to my part on the Munchkins because there is a lady who was the last one alive, Margaret Pellegrini.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she was the one who came out and said it was a German kids who were the party goers,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, she was a massive advocate for we didn't do what you said
Yeah.
kind of thing. And she would,
Mhm.
up until her death, would go to conventions
Mhm.
dressed in her little outfit. She's the one with the blue hat.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Margaret Pellegrini is a
Mhm.
huge advocate for the Munchkins and making sure, and she made sure their story was told.
Yeah. And one of the true facts as well, Margaret Hamilton did suffer quite bad burns due to one of the
Um,
scenes as well.
yeah, Margaret Hamilton suffered third-degree burns when the puff of smoke and fire as she's
Mm.
leaving. There's a trap door. It got stuck, and
Mm-hmm.
Margaret Hamilton didn't get down in time.
Yeah.
Margaret Hamilton's stunt double
Mm-hmm.
for broom scenes had such a severe accident that she couldn't actually have children.
Yeah.
She had to have what I'm guessing she had to have a full hysterectomy done after the incident.
Right.
Um, there's
I know
Let me get it
the guy who played the Tin Man. I'm just going to get his name
right.
up now.
I've got it here.
Jack
So
Haley.
right, okay, so it's not Jack Haley.
Right.
So Jack Haley is the Tin Man, as you
Yeah.
know him.
Mm-hmm.
He is the guy who you see on the screen. The original is a guy called, oh gosh, what was his name? Ebson. I haven't got his first name written down apparently. Ebson. So Ebson was the main player.
Mm-hmm.
He is the main guy. He was actually the Scarecrow.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, and then the guy who plays the Scarecrow said, the guy who was playing the Tin Man said,
Mm-hmm.
I want to play the Scarecrow, and he went, oh, that's okay, I'll play the Tin Man. So they swapped roles.
Mm-hmm.
The Epson is your original Tin Man. Now I need to go back a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So this goes down. This is to start with the directors.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said to Paul before we went live, this movie should never have been made,
Mm-hmm.
ever. And it starts with the directors. This movie had 4 directors.
Mm-hmm.
First one was Richard Thorpe. He was only a director for 2 weeks and then he was fired. Now, Richard Thorpe was fired on what he did originally, the blonde wig.
Yeah.
I mentioned it earlier on. We've seen it in person. What they did to Dorothy was make her look like a doll. The
Mm-hmm.
blonde wig was part of that. They actually strapped her chest down,
Mm-hmm.
which was incredibly painful for Judy Garland. They made it more cutesy, more. It was actually quite tacky.
Mm-hmm.
And he got sacked.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Richard Thorpe out the door. The next director is a guy called George Cukor.
Mm-hmm.
George Cukor could only give a certain amount of his time because he was going in to try and fix the shit show that was happening with Gone with the Wind.
Mm-hmm.
Gone with the Wind was pretty much going to bankrupt Hollywood. So George said, I can do this amount of time and then I'm going to have to go. They took it. George is actually very well known for going in and making all the changes. The Yellow Brick Road, he did that. Changing Dorothy into the brown hair, he did that. All the little changes that we now know as the movie, that's all down to him.
Mm-hmm.
George then leaves to go off to do Gone with the Wind.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get Marvin Leroy. No, we get Victor Fleming. Sorry.
Yes.
Now, Victor Fleming is the name who is on there because he's probably the one who spent the most time, but he's director number 3.
Mm-hmm.
So he comes in and he does what he does. He's a director. There's actually not quite a bit drama goes on with him until he gets a phone call saying, we need you for Gone with the Wind.
Right.
This is how bad Gone with the Wind was going. They had to get in another director to go in and try and save the day.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the last director, which is King Vidor. King Vidor is the reason you have Somewhere Over the Rainbow in the movie, because that was a song that was going to be axed by Victor Fleming.
Mm.
He put it back in again. So 4 directors. Now, the reason I had to bring them up for is because it explains the changes. So the original Tin Man is from the first director.
Yes.
And he got so the outfit that they had him in had like a spray on it that basically
it was
gave
lead
him
based,
lead poisoning.
It was lead
Yeah,
based.
it was lead based. Yeah, it gave him lead poisoning. He almost died. The ironic thing about it all is he outlived everyone.
So there's a trick, guys. Eat some lead and you'll live forever.
So yeah, it was aluminium dust.
Mm-hmm.
that was used on his suit, and it got onto his lungs, and he was very, very sick from it. He ends up leaving, and this is when he was replaced by Jack Healy,
Mm-hmm.
and he was replaced without even being told.
Yeah.
Jack Healy had no idea. He just thought he'd get in the role of a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was like, "What the fuck? I thought I was coming back."
Yeah.
And Jack Healy ends up taking over, and the
Mm-hmm.
rest is history.
Yeah, it's always the sad thing when it comes to the Tin Man as well, because it's such an interesting story, and he is a lovely character in this movie as well. I think the guy who plays it really well. But when you read it back and everything that came before, it's just as you said, this shouldn't have happened. Like could you imagine them trying to do something like that to like like like, like Tom Cruise or Jim Carrey saying, "Oh, we're gonna put you like say with lead-based paint and get you to the point where
They
you might die."
Yeah, well, Margaret Hamilton suffered the same kind of thing. So originally, so
Hmm.
the first director, it was the second director who made the changes, also made the change to Margaret Hamilton.
Hmm.
She didn't have the hat.
No.
She had a long black wig with scraggly hair. She didn't have the nose.
Hmm.
And even though that is part of Margaret Hamilton's nose, but it wasn't as
That's
prominent.
prominent. No.
And they used a green paint on her that pretty much burned her
Hmm.
skin underneath. Like it was so irritating. So
Hmm.
when the second director comes in, he's the one who makes the changes. He wraps her hair up, he gets that iconic hat on her, and they kind of come up with a better way
Hmm.
of putting the makeup on her.
Hmm.
Um,
But even like the makeup for Margaret Hamilton, that was one of the reasons why she did get third degree burns because the makeup that used was highly flammable.
yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
so choices were made in like the aspects like for movie magic and
Massive
movie history.
choices.
But
Poor Billy, what's her name? Billy Burke, who plays Glinda.
mhm,
Billy Burke looks absolutely phenomenal. Like she is absolutely beautiful in this film. But Billy Burke was
mhm,
at an age, and
yeah,
she was aging gracefully. She
mhm,
wasn't doing, what you would find women to do in Hollywood, and they didn't like the fact her because in a woman, you see your age, we see our age in our neck first
mhm,
before we see it here. You all think it's down to the wrinkles and everything, but it's actually your neck that will really show your true age. And they use wires
mhm,
to pull her neck back like you would. So just imagine you've seen the thing where they put the tape on to pull the face back.
mhm.
They did that same technique, but with wires on her neck,
It's
and she had to
crazy.
perform
Yeah,
with that.
it's like like being a human or being a person doesn't matter in these type of films. As
As
well well documented, like what Judy Garland had to go through, where she wasn't allowed to eat or drink certain things, had to take weight loss pills. Like they didn't like. You think people are seen badly now. Back then, you were not human. You were just there.
she wasn't.
Yeah, that's and it you can understand why people of the time or um
Just gonna let
like
Loki, and he's going crazy at the
yeah
door.
had so many different things go wrong to them or had there's so many different stories and like not just like Judy Garland but Liza Minnelli as well, like all the different aspects like what they went through is affect them that for the rest of their lives, and
Yeah.
it's sad in a way, but again it's a difficult one because what people want to do when they're watching the film like The Wizard of Oz, they don't want to know the like behind the curtain. It's almost like
It's almost like the great
the
powerful
Marvel
Oz.
Oz, yes.
Yeah, they don't want to see it. And I
Mm,
said to Paul at the beginning, I don't want to sugarcoat
mhm,
anything, any experience that we talk about with Judy Garland on this
mhm,
episode because I'm sick to shit of people doing that.
yeah.
They had such a perfect opportunity with the Judy Garland biography film, and I've
Mm,
said this before, that is a great biography film.
mm,
Renée Zellweger is absolutely perfect as Judy Garland, but they sugarcoat
yeah.
everything.
Mhm,
They had such an opportunity to give such a middle finger to Hollywood, and they
mhm,
completely fell on it.
yeah.
This is where I don't know. I haven't read. I actually am getting Judy Garland's biography
Mhm,
for Christmas. One of the ones that she helped contribute to write to. It's written by
mm,
somebody. It's not written by her, but she helped
mhm,
to put it together. Um, So I haven't read anything prior to this of
Mm-hmm.
treatment that she had, but as Paul mentioned, she had tablets to get her up, what restrict her eating,
Mm-hmm.
put her back to sleep, to completely and utterly control her.
What was I always find it amusing as well, because you talk about like people's health now, like how bad cigarettes and stuff is, and in most movies or TV shows they don't even show cigarettes. They used to force Judy Garland to smoke, so so it would go against her appetite.
Yeah, they would do anything. They did
Yeah.
anything. This is. I love Margaret Hamilton.
Mm,
I've loved her for such a long time, and I got to do 13 Ghosts with Monsters this year, and she's in it, and it's just oh,
mm,
that woman is just breathtaking. But listening to and reading about her relationship with Judy Garland
mm,
just makes me love this woman even more. There was an incident where Judy actually got slapped across the face by a
mm,
director because she couldn't stop laughing at the Cowardly Lion
mm,
while they were doing a scene. She was meant to have slapped him,
mm,
and instead she got a slap across the face. When Margaret Hamilton found out, she would nearly tore the fucking set down.
mm,
Um, it was Judy Garland herself, and for all that I'm going to give Margaret Hamilton so much credit for being very protective of her, it
mm,
was Judy Garland herself at the end of this production who the person she was getting the most shit from was Louis B. Mayer, who
mm.
is the M at the end of MGM,
Yeah.
and he was incredibly inappropriate to her. And at the end of production, she just went, "What the fuck?"
Mm,
And she laid it all out on the table, everything. And he cried.
mm,
He burst into tears because he was like, I can't believe I've done this. Go to hell, Louis B. Mayer. Um, but yeah, I can't, I don't want to, I love
mm.
the magic that this brings to people,
Yeah.
but I really want people to remember
Mm,
what that woman suffered. Actually, that child, she was
yeah.
a fucking child,
Mm,
suffered
mm.
doing this film.
Certainly. But again, I know there's a lot more nitty gritty and stuff I'm going to, but I want to ask a question because I know you, like as you've
Ooh.
said before, and you've said many a times, this isn't a film that kind of touched base or like you didn't have any nostalgia for. So after
Mm-mm.
this week, I know you've went away and watched it again. Did it change
Uh-huh.
for you?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
tell us about that magic.
I
Yeah,
haven't just watched it. I
yeah,
bought it.
right,
I've
okay.
actually I bought it.
Mm-hmm.
It was I couldn't. The copy that I found was in French. So and I was like, "Do you know what? Oh yeah, that's pretty. That is really pretty. I love the fact it's Margaret on the front.
Yeah.
Um, Amazon to rent or to
Mm-hmm.
buy was exactly the same price. It was £3, and I was like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
buying it. So I own it now. But yeah, watching it, no one knowing what I've known, because I have loved every second of doing this research for this.
Yeah.
This is how what I've done here is what I'm going to take into Monsters next year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just going to be looking for the easy way out of an IMDb. I'm going to be doing a lot more because you find out so much more. And
Mm-hmm.
there's the truth,
Mm-hmm.
there's the myth, and then there's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And it's like it's been so interesting finding that out. But watching it again after all of this, I'm not gonna lie, I was like choked
Mm-hmm.
quite a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when the shoes came on for the first time.
so,
Um,
so just to sound all get smug and stuff here, there's a certain bit when we were talking to Nikki, and during like our own research, I've looked into it as well.
mhm,
When Dorothy is set on the mission to go along the Yellow Brick Road from Munchkinland and
yeah,
starts skipping along, because the slippers we saw had orange felt at the bottom, so it
yes,
wouldn't do the dancing noise along, so it wouldn't interrupt with the sound
mhm,
thing. So that was the scene where the slippers that me and Sammy went to see this week were used. So then what
yeah.
that if you go back, I know it's like say just talking about moments, but that's them slippers on that part of the scene when she's skipping along the yellow brick road. Me and Sammy have been face to face and been touching distance away. Well, it was in a glass case, but touching
Was it a
distance
glass
away
case? You went,
from
yeah,
from them
you
slippers.
weren't touching them.
No.
I want to talk about the ruby slippers and give you a little bit brief history.
Mm-hmm.
As I found out the other day, these aren't my first ruby slippers that I have seen.
Mm.
There is 6 in production,
Mm-hmm.
and the ones that, so Kent Warner sold
Mm-hmm.
the pair that we saw to the lovely Michael Shaw,
Mm-hmm.
who
Who loves
out of
Sammy? Who
nowhere,
fancies Sammy? Let's be
out of
honest here.
no, what he flashes a wink, he flashes a smile, and then out of nowhere came and just talked to me and Paul. We
Yeah.
didn't invite him.
Mm.
We didn't gesture. He just came to us and started talking about his shoes. And
But
he bought
you
them.
know why I think that happened? And again,
Mm,
this is again might be sound a bit big headed and stuff here. Everyone else around the slippers were doing selfies with them, or doing
yeah.
faces with the slippers, or putting faces next to the hat. We weren't. We were standing back and trying to embrace and actually take in everything like of them. So we
Yeah.
were kind of like appreciating it, where
Hmm.
everyone else was kind of like wanting to be.
Oh, look
Yeah,
at that.
yeah.
Yeah, we weren't. We were in awe of these shoes. Now, Michael bought them in
Hmm.
1970 originally for 20. God, I haven't got the number written down, but I do remember it. It was $20,000
Hmm.
at the time in 1970. That's
Right.
some big coin. And as Paul mentioned, they were stolen, and they were stolen in Minnesota at
Hmm.
the Judy Garland Museum in
Yeah.
2005.
By a
As Paul
mobster.
said, yep, thick as fuck mobster because he thought they were made of genuine rubies.
Yeah.
Fucking idiot. Um, and
Mhm.
he, as Nikki told us, he kind of panicked because they became a hot commodity because
No,
there was a reward on them
one
for a
one
million,
million dollars.
$1 million,
1 million.
and he panicked.
Mhm.
And thank God he did, because Christ knows where, one, they would have ended up, and two, the state they would have been in. Him doing what he did and burying them has kept them in the condition that they're in right now.
Yeah.
These shoes are 80 years old. They have no right to look as good as what they do. Nikki was telling us that they now have to be in an air-controlled room,
Mhm.
light-controlled, everything, because of the damage that they could get
Mhm.
now they are out in the world,
Yeah.
whereas they were below ground for a long time. But the FBI recovered them ones. He actually he did go to court over it, but he
Mm.
got time served.
Yeah. But
I
I think
don't know what that means though. He pled guilty and he's sentenced to time served. That was of January of this year.
he had to pay back $36,000.
I'm guessing he was in prison from when they found them,
Yeah, it would have
and then
been in
his
the.
trial came up,
Mm.
and then the amount of time he was in prison is like, oh well, you've served your time already, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. What I found out that like in the last 2 days as well, I didn't know this. Well, I should have, because each sequin on them slippers were hand sewn on.
Every single pair of shoes.
Yeah.
Every single one of the 6, they were all
Mm.
hand sewn on. Yeah, he thought they were real rubies. Fucking idiot. Um, the insurance on it was 1 million, and that was the reward money.
Hmm.
And according to what I read, they were
Hmm.
he was paid out for them. Um, so yeah, the another pair. Now this is where my story gets a little bit interesting. I was telling people at the event, well, I've seen a replica of these, because there was a ride in MGM Studios called the Great Movie Ride. If you went back in the day, it's no longer there now. It was such a fantastic ride. It was so old and decrepit, but it was still so magical. And you sat in a big tram and you went around the movies. You went into Aliens, you went to The Wizard of Oz,
Hmm.
and it was brilliant. But at the front of the front of it is all done out like Garmin's Chinese theatre,
Yeah, it's got all the
and
things you can put
they
your hands prints in, your feet prints
handprints
in.
in and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, it's a full experience. And they had a glass case, almost like an afterthought, of ruby slippers.
Hmm.
And this is why I thought it was just a replica. They're not.
Hmm.
They're a real deal. They were owned by a Tennessee woman called Roberta Baum, and she bought them at Christie's for 150,000 back in 1988. And again, just like Michael Shaw didn't want to just keep a hold of these items. He wanted the world to see them. Hence the reason he was touring with them and how they got stolen. She hired them to
Hmm.
Florida's MGM studios from 90 oh god 99 1994 to 2000.
Hmm.
So the slippers that I saw with genuine ruby slippers. And I said to Paula, kind of like it's a bit tainted now, but it's not.
No.
The experience is completely different.
No.
I didn't know what it was I was looking at. I really thought there were replica slippers. Like, who the fuck is going to have
Mhm.
genuine ruby slippers at a theme park ride in
Mhm.
Florida?
Yeah.
Like, the ride was even when it was in its prime, it still wasn't exactly the most
Mhm.
brilliant ride, if that makes sense. The best
Yeah.
part about it was the end, where you go through the movies. It was absolutely fantastic at the end. So
Mhm.
yes, I saw a pair. Now there is another. So the Smithsonian has,
The sister pair
and
to the ones we've just seen.
yes, that's right. And
Yeah.
according to rumor, they have the left. So Heritage have the left shoe.
Mhm. They've
Smithsonian
got the
has the right one.
right. Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
apparently they've got mixy matchy shoes.
yeah.
That's just according to myth. I don't know how
No.
true that is.
Yeah.
But the Arabian Night slippers, which I thought Heritage had,
Mhm.
they were what were going to be the original ruby slipper.
So they were number one because the ones we saw were
Yeah,
number six. Apparently number
that's
six.
right.
Yeah. So number one was the ones with the cut. Like it would have been a very different like movie seeing Dorothy hop along
You
in
would,
there.
to be honest,
Yeah.
I don't think you would. I don't think there would be as iconic of a
No.
shoe if they used the Arabian Night slipper. But Debbie Reynolds
Yeah.
owns them shoes. Well, her estate does now.
Yeah.
Um,
But just to give a description,
yeah.
because if someone doesn't know what an Arabian shoe is, it's basically this a long slipper with a curl toe that goes almost like the way I would
Imagine what
describe it.
Jasmine wears in Aladdin.
Yes, or if you watch A Nightmare Before Christmas, that hill that Jack and Sally walk across, how it curves off at the end, that would
Hmm.
be the same type of look that the Arabian slippers had.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like, and it's weird that like I said, they used the ruby slippers in the movie because, as we said before in the original book, they were silver.
The silver slippers and
Yeah.
yeah. If nobody knew, Debbie Reynolds had one of the big, if not the biggest,
Hmm.
movie memorabilia collection in the world. How nobody wanted anything to do with what she had. She wanted to create museums. And she wanted to tour these museums, and nobody wanted to put up the capital for it because they just thought it was a lost cause. Fucking fools.
Would it
That
not?
woman had so much.
Would the insurance be too much though? That would be my thing. If you're touring
It,
it, like
I don't
yeah.
know.
Hmm.
If you watch the documentary that she did just before she died, Eddie Fisher. No, that's her husband. Eddie. Oh, what's that son called? I can't think of what our son's name is at the top of my head, but our son was the one who was trying to put it together. And initially, they just wanted to go with the museums. They just wanted to be able to show it because Debbie, literally, the reason she has more than what she should have is one, she was very good friends with Judy Garland, so she had a lot of stuff. She owned the gingham dress, the original one. She's obviously got the slippers, the Rat Pack, the most famous scene that you see with the Rat Pack where they're all standing in their suits. After that photograph was taken, Debbie runs up and takes every bit of item, including their underwear, off them, and they go on a mannequin, and that is part of her collection. She was very notorious for running out the set and just, I'll take that, I'll take this. Um, it's a sad fucking shame that no
Hmm.
one will get to see what she actually had.
But yeah, coming back to the Wizard of Oz though. So the actual movie, as it says, I know, like it's checkered history, but
Mm.
when you watch it now, it you don't get the chaos or anything
You
from
don't
this
feel it.
movie. No.
You don't, no, you definitely don't feel it. And I don't want to say that anything that I've learned is kind of tainted that experience because it certainly didn't. You feel the magic and you
Yeah.
feel the work that went into this, and
Hmm.
the the colors, the
Yeah.
aesthetic, the um what I thought was hilarious. One bit I couldn't stop laughing at is when Dorothy's off to the wizard and she's doing, I'm off to see the wizard, and you can see where the set ends.
Hmm.
And you can actually, that was the worst part about watching this in 4K,
Yeah.
was because you could see where the set ends. So you could see
Mm.
she can't go past this line because
Hmm.
otherwise she's walking into a wall. The munchkins, I could see every bit of hairline
Hmm.
that was all prosthetic that was making their forehead bigger. Yeah, that was next.
But say that
I
though,
wish I watched it in a grainier copy.
when you're talking about the sets, that's what I kind of love it, because it gives us that feeling of like Universal Monsters where they used to paint the sets. It gives us a feeling
Yeah,
like Scooby Doo esque where you look
I
see
love a
these
still set.
amazing backgrounds and stuff like that. I again, when they painted these sets, that's their version of like CGI back in the day when they
Yeah,
can't make these things, so that they're painted on. And I absolutely adore that when you're walking past, when they're walking over the poppy fields, which is just an iconic, beautiful scene. You can see the clouds and everything that's painted on the background, like the hills are painted and stuff. But to me, that just adds to the kind of like the charm and the magic to it.
yeah.
And
It's some powerful stuff.
yeah, and that's why I loved Wicked as well, because it paid kind of like homage and almost like not the painted effect, but it kind of like it didn't try and one up the Wizard of
No,
Oz. It was kind of like
no,
keeping it to the same type of level and feel.
you're right. And 90% of that movie is practical.
Yeah, and like so you can tell the CGI bits because like say it's impossible not to do certain things
Yeah,
CGI.
and this
Mm-hmm.
is what we've said. If CGI, if practical can't be used, CGI is the next best thing. But
Mm.
don't use it
But
as a get out when you can do practical.
certainly, and if you watch back the Wizard of Oz, you like for the time this was made, you can't tell that's not a real tornado and that the house is not flying about. Like I know it sounds silly, but it amazes me how like without computers, they didn't have computers back in the day.
No,
So when you
it's
had to painstakingly cut out film and stick things on film and do it
uh
that way, like it's just a masterclass in, like like not having the technology to do what you want to do, but working out how to do it.
yeah,
It's just breathtaking, and you can't like take that aspect like the cleverness and the stuff that they made this movie, and as you said, it always leaves you like thinking as well, is it just like a girl's fever dream that she got swept up in a storm? Did she dream it all? Because all the characters like that's in like Kansas are the characters that go through. I think what you're pointing at.
with Jar Jar.
Your Jar Jar.
Someone's saying it looks like Jake. Sorry, says it looks like a little devil on my shoulder.
Mhm.
It was just like making a gesture. He's
Right. Okay. No, but
sorry.
no, it's fine. And like I say, all them different aspects and things that you watch in this movie, it was so ahead of its time for a lot of different aspects, and it was groundbreaking. It changed the industry like forever. Like after this movie, movies were never the same again.
No, it was a one-upmanship. The
Hmm.
next one that tried. So this didn't break the bank, by the way. This
Hmm.
movie, it did go over budget, but it didn't break the bank. This is, like I said, Gone with the Wind was almost about to bankrupt Hollywood, and the next movie that goes on to do that is Cleopatra. That
Hmm.
literally nearly bankrupt
Yeah, because it's
Hollywood.
about it's like if you get the uncut version, it's about 17 hours.
Oh, and the cost of it, people had to sell their contracts for the money to be put into the film.
Yeah.
It was fucking crazy time. And but it's you talk about the tornado, that was the most costly thing that they did
Hmm.
on this movie was the actual tornado effect.
Hmm.
I'm gonna read it from so I don't butcher what they actually did. Um it's a Muslim cloth.
Hmm.
So the Arnold Gillespie is the special effects director. He's the guy who did the Technicolor. He's
Hmm.
the one who developed it and
Hmm.
gets it to where you can see it there. He so a Muslim cloth made the tornado flexible. So after previous attempts with rubber, he hung a 35-foot he rung 35, 11 meters of muslin from a steel grating and connected to the bottom of a rod. By moving the gantry and the rod, he was able to create the illusion of a tornado going across the stage.
Hmm.
So it literally is a muslin cloth that you use for babies, but
Hmm.
it's the mechanism that they use that
Yeah.
costs them the most money.
Ah, interesting. But no, and I still think the magic of going to the Emerald City in this movie is better than like anything that's came before or been done after type thing.
The greens in
Yeah.
this is just
Hmm.
it's breathtaking. This the only bit I ever liked of Wizard of Oz was when they went to the Emerald City and you first see the horses. It was
Mm,
always I grew up with me. Dad used to work in stables. I was around horses a lot as a child, and seeing them horses in them colours changing all the
mm.
time was
It's a
just
horse of every color.
absolutely.
La la
Oh my
la
God, it
la
was
la la
so
la 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 la
amazing. I
la.
wanted a purple horse so badly. Um, but yes, if I've said it wrong, Chris, I'm sorry. Um, but they used Jello powder
Mhm.
on the
Yeah,
horses to get them to pop,
yeah.
to shine. But the horses, if you notice, were prancing along.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was just knocking the stuff off. You can actually there's actually bits where you can actually see it coming off. So they had to do them very, very quickly.
Mm.
And this the article I read here does confirm, not confirm, I'm not going to use that word, but say that asbestos was used for the snow.
Yeah. No,
Um,
mhm.
but again, it depends on who you're reading from, if
Mhm.
that's true or not.
No, certainly. And now, like say, because when we were younger, and we thought all witch like wicked witches are bad. Um, it's interesting now, like say Glinda asks Dorothy if she's a good witch or a bad witch, because supposed to be bad witches are ugly. So it's just is Glinda having a backhanded compliment to Dorothy saying that she's ugly? But yeah,
Glinda's a bitch, by the way.
yeah, but no,
Not just taken from like what we've seen in Wicked, because she's
mm,
oof.
yeah,
But yeah, she allowed her to go through all of that
mm,
when she could have quite easily just said at the beginning, "Tap your shoes, girl, and you can go home. It's all
yeah,
good." Um, you've taken out all my competition,
no,
then you can go home.
yeah.
Yeah, bitch.
To be fair though, everyone's got an alternative motive and stuff like that.
And
Um,
she was a bitch. No.
it's just
Do you know what? I would never, because I am so mesmerized by Billy Burke in this film and the
mm,
dress and the piece. I'm not paying attention that closely when I'm watching this to any motive that Glinda could possibly have.
mm.
It's not until I've been reading about it, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, she's a bitch. Yeah.
But
She
it's
got
just
Dorothy to do all her dirty work and then said she could go home.
just as you said, when you watch this movie now, it's with different eyes and different context. Now we've got so much backstory and so much things.
Yeah.
Like the rich history of the Wicked Witch of the West, and um, I know Wicked is kind of like an unofficial type story, like of Elphaba and all that jazz. It's just an interesting way to look at the Wizard of Oz. It's like, is she really the bad guy? Like
Mm,
a sister's just being killed by having a house dropped on her, so she's going to be upset. Dorothy's just turned up and stolen her sister's shoes.
mm-hmm.
So who really is the arsehole and who really is the good guys in this? I know.
I don't think Dorothy is. I think she's a pawn in a game between
Mm,
two
mhm.
people who clearly don't like each other. Um, and one of them's like, I think I might use this to my advantage.
But and again, Dorothy's only a little girl and she's left to go wandering across Oz, and she's like surrounded by three interesting characters, like say a scarecrow without a brain, a tin man without a heart, and a cowardly lion. So again, it's putting a lot of danger in this little girl, and it's just very trusting.
Yeah, yeah. There was a fair few funny moments with the Tin Man. I'm not gonna lie.
Mhm.
The when especially when he's all stiffened up and he's trying to talk, like I am wetting my pants laughing at that. Like it's so
the
funny.
the physical comedy in this is back to
Yeah,
an era where we don't see this as much anymore, and it's
yeah,
done to the degree where it's just perfect. Like the simple things, like when the scarecrow's like dancing around and falling over because he's got no coordination because he's been tied up for so long. If the Tin Man gets upset, he starts like seizing up, and when he starts like doing the whole Michael Jackson lean and stuff. Well, Michael Jackson probably stole it from the Tin Man,
exactly.
and then going
This is the
from there.
30s. This
and
is
it,
the 30s. He didn't know about this yet.
and even the Cowardly Lion, I felt so. Oh, the actor who played the Cowardly Lion, I felt sorry because he was like a proper Broadway, like proper big
Oh, Bert
theatre
Law.
big actor, and his career just never like took off again after being the Cowardly Lion. But
No, and he suffered for his art in this.
yeah,
It's Bert Law,
Mhm.
is the guy, the actor who played him, and
Mhm.
his costume really restricted him to the point where all he could have was milkshakes, and he was like, "This needs to stop. I'm so ill. Please stop feeding me these." So
Oh,
they had to make some adjustments to his because they just honestly I believe that they put them in these costumes just to be like, you need to be in them all day
yeah.
and
Mhm.
fuck your feelings
Well,
kind of
that's
thing.
the thing that done. It was all about the aesthetic. It's like this is how we want it to look. This is
Hmm.
we don't care how we get it. We want the Tin Man to look metal, so we'll use aluminium. We'll use lead. We'll use mercury if we need to.
Yeah.
The
Um,
scarecrow, like I said, that thing around his face looks like a bag that was wrapped around his neck. It looked horrendous.
so uncomfortable. And the straw as well would have been
Hmm.
so itchy. But
Yeah.
Jake's just made a good point there that they had vaudevillian skills back then.
Hmm.
You are so correct. The majority of people who come from vaudeville into this is
Hmm.
ridiculous, and that's where you get that sense of vaudeville.
Hmm.
One in particular, and I'm going to hark back to a Monsters episode where we talked about Harry and Daisy Doll.
Hmm.
They are the two um little people. I don't know if that is the right vernacular, and I'm very
Two
sorry.
the Chris's.
Yeah, the two Chris's, let's just say
Yeah.
that. Just so I don't get any trouble. They are in Freaks, Todd
Hmm.
Browning's Freaks. They are the kind of main stars in Freaks, and their whole family are a vaudeville act called the Doll Family.
Hmm.
And we talked about them a bit in our Freaks episode. Harry and Daisy are in
Hmm.
this movie. So they are legitimate vaudevillian actors.
Hmm.
And I recognized Harry straight away. I think he's part of the Lollipop Guild.
We are the Lollipop Guilds, the Lollipop Guilds.
The Lollipop Guild.
But
Hmm.
it's amazing. I know it's hard to put into words, like the areas or the things this movie has touched in pop culture. It has
Oh, yeah.
influenced literally everything from what are you doing? Shit.
Who you got?
Jinx is climbing in things. It's like, no,
Oh,
you.
mine have just been fighting behind us.
Yeah. Like literally anything to do with pop culture, like movies, songs, stories, has this movie's fingerprints all over. It
Yeah.
it is crazy how far and wide this movie reaches and continues to reach as well. That's
Mm.
why as I said, this is always going to be like a special one. And and I know Jake asked earlier, it would be a very brave person, a very brave team to say, I'm going to remake The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, I agree with that sentence, but I also feel that given the history
Hmm.
of the whole movie, I feel to redo it again is a complete discredit
Hmm.
to all the hard work that originally went into it,
Hmm.
all the pain and suffering
Hmm.
that went into it. Is to do it again in this time, in this era, with this technology is like,
Hmm.
I think it does it a disservice.
Hmm.
That's how I feel about it anyway. I don't feel like it needs it.
Hmm.
I love the idea that we've had Wicked come out of it. The Wiz was a huge one.
Yeah.
A huge one to come out. It's a very
Well, the
successful
Wiz was a
one.
huge flop, shall we say it?
No,
That's a, it
it's picked up an audience later on down the line.
right.
Um, it certainly influenced Always Sunny episode, which
Yeah.
I do not want to get into the songs on that one. Don't want to get taken off the air for that. They might be comfortable with it, but I'm not.
No. It's interesting you say like the Wiz and stuff like that because I know like the ramifications from this movie, like the after effects, because people's always try to recapture or kind of like, uh, not redo it, but like we got Return to Oz, the unofficial sequel that Disney brought out.
Oh, come
Um,
on. We've done an episode on that, and
yeah. No, I'm
it's
not
a
saying it was bad. It's just very different take. It's like you could take aspects of Oz and do it in so many different ways. Like you can either do like as a horror version, like which is close to what Return to Oz is.
mhm.
And again, it's interesting, like because the reason why we had certain characters in Return to Oz is because they didn't have the rights to use the characters or the likenesses from the Wizard of Oz in that movie. We've had Oz the Great and Powerful. We've got Wicked now.
Blech.
from what I'm hearing about the second Wicked, part two, shall we say, because the second act is always the shorter act, but there's going to be new songs and new aspects added differently there. So I know Dorothy and certain aspects are in Wicked, like say the second part, but I think they're going to be a bigger role because normally
In
it's just like see aspects or see certain parts of them.
yeah,
If that makes sense.
no, that's yeah, it doesn't. It is really interesting. I don't know Wicked.
Hmm.
I don't know how it ends. I don't know. I generally didn't know the story. I'm getting the gist of it now.
Hmm.
But Chris has just said he thinks it's long enough for them for it feasible to remake it and introduce to a new generation. But what is wrong with introducing this to a new generation?
Hmm.
This movie still looks like it was done a few
Hmm.
years. It still holds up visually.
Hmm.
Like even if there is the odd things with the watching it in 4K. I would have preferred a bit of a more grainier copy, just
Hmm.
so I could kind of still stay in the same illusion. And I'm glad I didn't watch it on my big telly because that would
Hmm.
have just completely fucking. But this, you could still watch this and still appreciate it like it
Hmm.
was just done a few years ago. I
Hmm.
don't feel this movie's timeless.
Yeah, that's the word I would use, and I don't think if you look at the performances or the people who were involved, I don't think there's a actor or again that's a bold statement. I don't think there's anyone that could do any of the performances any better.
No, I don't either. Even like going from Auntie Gale.
Hmm.
Is it Aunt Gail? Am I going to say her name wrong? I'm going
Annie
to make a
M.
fool. Auntie M. I knew I was going to make a fool of myself at some point. She was fantastic. That woman
Yeah.
is amazing. Um,
Dorothy, Dorothy, where are you, Dorothy?
oh, I love it. I love our uncle.
Yeah.
I love our uncle, and he was just absolutely great. Took me a while to realize that the people of the farmhouse are the
Oh dear.
lion, the Tin Man.
Even the wizards there.
Yeah, I knew him, but
Yeah.
the signs. So this is where it's like
Hmm.
it kind of it's playing into the dream part of it because he's one of the last people that she sees. One of
Hmm.
his signs is actually
Hmm.
in the Emerald City.
Yeah.
One of his like touring signs.
Hmm.
So it kind of plays into the dream aspect of it.
No, but it's, yeah. I'm still like say Chris saying it would be a banger. No, Chris, it won't be. Uh,
No. Can I give you my last bit of trivia? And I've kept this one for last because this actually blew my mind. So I'm going to ask you a question.
mm-hmm.
The gingham dress.
Mm-hmm.
What color is the gingham dress?
It's it's
It's
it's
not a trick
blue,
question,
right? Okay,
but
it's
you answer.
blue,
It's blue and
white.
it's not.
Okay,
It's blue and pink.
blue and pink. Or is this going to be one of those
The
optical
the
illusion type
shirt,
things
no,
as well?
it's the shirt is pink
Right.
because it doesn't show the white doesn't show up
So
in Technicolor.
right, I get you that now. Yeah, so it's the
Yes.
same like when they do black and white films, like they use
Yes.
reds in the black and white
Yes.
because it
They
shows
use
up more
yes.
than.
But the dress itself is pink and blue.
Right. Okay.
That blew my mind. I'm not gonna lie. Like I did the same thing to my mom the day I was like, Mom,
Hmm.
what color to you is the gingham dress? And she was like, it's blue and white. No, it's fucking not. It's blink pink and blue. Yeah, it's to do with the Technicolor. It's like a special dye transfer that they needed to use, and
Mm-hmm.
it's more of a pink color than it is a
Yeah.
white color.
So to ask you a question as well, because we've
Mm.
got some interesting characters in the Nerdy North community or
Oh
team.
Christ. Okay.
If you were going to like give roles from the Wizard
Okay.
of Oz to everyone who's involved,
Yeah.
who would you give them a role to? But you're not allowed to give yourself a role. I'll put it
That's
that way.
okay. I'm not trying to offend anyone. I'm while I
Please
do
do
this.
offend them as much as you can.
I don't want to. Cowardly Lion,
Hmm.
you.
All right, okay. As
Um,
long as I'm not the Wizard of Oz, that's fine.
Wizard of Oz, Madness, Graham.
Right, okay.
Uh,
Cloak
Tin
and
Man.
mirrors.
Yeah, instantly. the Tin Man, when you asked that question, I knew Lee is the Tin
Right.
Man.
Okay.
Scarecrow. Oh, actually, I'm torn between Scarecrow and Tin Man because
See, I would have done it opposite. I would have done
you would have
Chris
gone
as the
Chris
Chris as the
Tin
Tin
Man
Man and Lee
and Lee.
as the
Yeah,
Scarecrow because Lee needs a brain and Chris needs
yeah,
a whole cacophony of different body parts.
yeah. I just don't know where to place Jake.
The Cowardly
Jake's.
Lion, it looks he just fits looks
You're
perfectly.
going off that, yeah, but you're just going off looks. I'm going off personality
Yeah,
traits.
but if you count
Um,
personalities, Jake's probably Toto.
yeah. Toto, Toto, who was a girl.
Hmm.
Can't think of what Toto's actual name was.
Hmm.
But Toto has their own cenotaph
Hmm.
in Hollywood Forever Studios, Hollywood Forever Cemetery. That
Hmm.
has they're not buried there, and they're not the
Hmm.
ashes aren't there, but
Yeah.
they have their own little cenotaph where it's a little statue and a little bronze Toto on the front of it. It looks spectacular. Put them up,
But
yeah.
I would put Donna as the Wicked Witch. Just because I think she's got the cackle. Um, Dorothy probably's Beth.
Oh
Because
yeah. Oh
Beth's a
yeah.
little innocent.
And she has her little Toto. She has her
A little Nova. Yeah.
little Nova.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, that's cool. Do you know who I would have thought for the Wicked Witch of the West? Oh, I'm so glad she doesn't listen to this and she's not in the chat. Nick,
Right. Nick
Mod
would be
Nick.
the Nick would be the Wicked Witch. Well, Donna can
Mm-hmm.
be the the Wicked Witch of the East. She gets flattened by the house.
You got some fabulous shoes. Oh, I don't know about the witch because Donna's too sweet to be a witch.
Oh, she's a witch. Um, Amanda can be Glinda,
Oh, fuck yeah, yeah,
and
absolutely.
Kelly's the guy at the door that lets people into the land of Oz. Why
That's
didn't
the
you
wizard.
say so? Come right in.
That's the wizard. He
Yeah,
plays three different
yeah.
parts. That's him. Do you know who was going to play him?
Mm-hmm.
Alternative cast moment. Ed Gwynn.
All right.
That would have been so interesting because he has such a significant voice. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't know who he is, he's the Mad Hatter in Alice in Wonderland, and he's
Mm-hmm.
also in Mary Poppins
Mm-hmm.
on the when he's
Mm-hmm.
up a height, and he's got such a distinct voice as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, don't let's be silly. That's my best Ed Gwynn impression.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was meant to play the wizard.
Right. So no, Jake's asking who Glinda. I would definitely Panda. I think Amanda would be Panda.
Oh,
Glinda,
absolutely.
yeah.
Sorry if I didn't agree with that earlier. Absolutely.
Yes. But it'd be interesting because you can always see like a different personality or like everyone's probably got a trait. Like I've probably got all three people like the lion, the scarecrow, or the Tin Man
I'm
perhaps.
saying the Cowardly Lion for you, but you've been so brave recently that
Mm.
that's a bit of a discredit to you.
Mm. I don't know. I'm a coward. I say it's
No, you're
fine.
not a coward. You're not. No, you're not. You are not a coward. You just you let things scare you too much. But you haven't been doing that, see? So no, I can't see you the cowardly. Oh God, I'm so conflicted. I don't like this question.
I'll be a flying monkey. I'll take that.
Oh hey, my flying monkeys. I lost my shit last night. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, bless. It's horrific during the stage show as well.
Horrific.
Why is it
Horrific.
hurting?
I was like,
Yeah.
stop, make it stop, make it stop. Um, yeah, and just to go back to Wicked a second, the goat being Peter Dinklage.
Hmm.
We just watched Transformers: Rise of the Beasts the
Hmm.
night before, and he is in it, and I'm like, I know that voice. I really do know that. I know that voice. I just listened to him last night. There we go. And also it's Tyrion Lancaster. Lannister. Wash my mouth out.
It's fine. So, have we converted you into a Who fan then? Not a Who fan, sorry,
Oh,
an Oz
fuck
fan.
no.
An Oz fan, sorry.
Yeah, I really am. Like it's been such a turning point. And I'm happy I did it on my own.
Hmm.
Like I didn't
You
there was
weren't
no
forced into it type thing.
yeah, I'm really happy that I did it on my own. I've loved regardless for this episode or not, I have loved reading about this production. It really,
Mm-hmm.
I love old Hollywood.
Yeah.
I've talked about this on an episode we did with Katie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just the deaths and such like that. I and the scandals. I love old Hollywood. I love how
Mm-hmm.
things worked back then, even if they were wrong.
Mm-hmm.
What's he saying? Sammy now knows as much about Optimus Primal as me. It was Ron Perlman. Yeah, and I love getting to learn all the stories and the history and
Mm-hmm.
going to heritage and being amongst history.
Mm-hmm.
I said to my mum today, I could do that as a job.
Yeah.
I could do that. The idea of being a movie historian is just, I
Mm-hmm.
love that aspect.
Well, technically, we are hit like say,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the thing. Like, I would never try and float our ego that much, but we are keeping certain things alive, and certain like talking about these
Trying
things
to.
will always keep things out there. But it's interesting. So, so would you say something has changed within you? Something is
Yes.
not quite the same.
Mm. Don't know what that reference means. I am Captain America right now. I understand that reference.
I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's games.
Mm.
Yes. Too late for second guessing. Too
I
late to go back to sleep.
oh, I created a whole musical playlist the other
Mhm,
week. Honestly, it's just a playlist to make me cry.
mhm,
But I put Defying Gravity on there.
mhm.
But it's Azina Mendel's and Kristen Chenoweth's
Yeah.
Defying Gravity. I need to now add a review
Mm,
because she hasn't changed it. She's just made it hers.
yeah.
The cry at the end, which is kind of like the war cry,
Mhm.
is completely different to Azina Mendel's, and I
No.
love that that's hers. It's just
Yeah.
a tiny significant change, but
Mhm.
it just it's perfect.
I think with Azania Mendel's, it was the first time that
Oh,
kind of you heard that and
and heard her too.
heard that, yeah, and like that was a game changer, and everyone's kind of been trying to replicate it. They don't
Yeah.
do that in this wicket.
No, she
No.
doesn't. She completely makes that song her own, as Zena did. I love saying Mendel's name, but every time I do, I hear John Travolta,
Mhm.
the incredible, sensational. Na, 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 na.
So yes, so that was our little take on the Wizard of Oz. We're not going to
Yeah,
be saying giving it a rating because I think it's
fuck
impossible
no,
to rate this movie. I
fuck
don't
no. I'm not
think.
rating this film at all. It's magical.
Yeah.
It's it takes you to your eyes to a
Hmm.
place even 80 years on that you didn't expect to have inflicted on them.
No, and it's one of those things where it's a moment in time that'll never change. Um,
I'm just laughing at Jake's comment too.
I hope you're happy now. It's as you know why, Jake. It's because I'm so popular.
um yeah, this is a film that is me and my mum were talking about in the car today that you don't appreciate what you are looking at
Mm,
and how
no,
groundbreaking this movie is. It's 80 years old and we are
mm,
still it's still as
still in awe.
relevant as it was
Mm.
back in 1939.
But I think like that's what a lot of people do. Like, not saying people are shallow or small minded when it comes to movies, because movies now are so accessible. You can literally watch anything, anytime, anywhere. Where years gone by, it was an occasion, it was a special kind of like time to go to the
Hmm.
movies or to experience. So having something as grand and as big as this,
Yeah.
so a lot of people probably growing up now won't get why the Wizard of Oz is so special. Won't get why like it's like the movie magic. I think if you're watching it as a kid, it's
Hmm.
discovering fantasy for the first time. This could be a
Yeah.
gateway to bit like the fantasy realm or different stories or even reading and stuff like that. You can go into it
This
and
Yeah, because
Um,
there's not just this, and we all know The Wizard of Oz comes from a book. We saw the first edition of it. It's
yeah.
fucking beautiful.
Mhm,
There is a whole series
mhm,
of these books that you could dive into, um, and completely lose yourself in the world of Oz.
mhm,
Um, I just, I'm almost haven't got the words to describe how this has been over the last few weeks.
mhm.
Um, and then obviously it being cemented with the trip that we had to London. It's beyond my vocabulary right now.
It's when, like, because when we get the email saying, "Can you cook?" Because just to give you a little delve behind the curtain
Ugh.
for you nerds out there, when I get an email from the people who are involved with like the trips that we've been on, I don't get any information to tell us what it's going to be, what it's going to involve. It is simply an email saying, "On this date, can you be in London? Yes or no?" It's kind of like, "Are you in? Are you out?" So then you go through the panic of saying, "Right, can I
Am
sort
I?
this? How can this be arranged?" Um, so when we find out more, because we get a non-disclosure form, so I've got to sign that, so I can't tell people before that we go into things. And that's when they send us the contract for what's going to be involved. And with this, we weren't like with the Game of Thrones. I had a phone call said it's Game of Thrones. Uh, Cast's going to be there. It's going to have all the items. It's going to be big, amazing. With this, it was just simply on this date. Heritage is launching their entertainment section
Hmm.
of the things in London. We want you to be a part of it because you're pop culture, use know your shit. Apparently, that's why they like coming to us. Um, and it was just one hashtag that because they tell us what we've got to put in the hashtags. One hashtag Ruby Slippers,
These slippers.
and that's when
And that's when
everything
he
broke.
lost his fucking mind.
That's when the world broke there. Yeah, but
That's
yeah,
when Paul fucking mind just.
but yeah, so absolutely blew my mind. But yeah, these type, and again, I don't think I'll ever get used to or take for granted these type of aspects that we do get
No.
involved with. I am incredibly humble and incredibly lucky to
And grateful, so
um
grateful to be in that room with
mm,
them items. What I wanted to do initially was to record Paul going up to the slippers to see it, but that was virtually fucking impossible
mm,
because we saw them as
mm,
we were walking through the door,
mm,
and then they're just right bang in your face, and you don't even have time to react to.
mm,
You're like, oh shit, there's
mm,
there's the shoes.
yeah.
How the fuck do I react?
Mm,
As a normal human being. Like that's what when I initially saw the shield, I had to walk away because I was like, you need to practice how you're gonna have to act in front of these people now, because you're gonna have to act like a normal person. You
mm,
can't just be that stupid fucking fangirl who will freak out. So
mm.
yeah, that's why I had to take that moment.
But being the fan people we are, seem to work and seem to go well. Uh,
Worked in our favor.
Yes. So yeah, and again, if you haven't known, like this film means the world to me. If you haven't watched it, I'd be surprised if you haven't. If you haven't watched it in a while, watch it again. Watch it with a new set of eyes. Um, like just take in like and have a think how they did this when they did,
Yeah.
and just be mesmerized by the beauty and um, like the innocence, because this film is so innocent in the ways that it has no right to be.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It has no right to have innocent quality to it,
Mm,
given everything that we know about behind the scenes. But
mm,
this is how fucking good they are at their jobs. They
mm,
create that innocence on screen to where you don't need to know
mhm,
what what's going on. You don't need to know that Dorothy's getting slapped about by directors
mhm,
because she's that good at her job,
mhm.
she can make you forget.
Yes. So, somewhere over the rainbow. That's where we'll leave that today.
Oh,
So yeah. So
wow.
no monsters tomorrow.
No monsters tomorrow. No, we're on a hiatus, baby.
No.
Um, yeah.
So we do have a few. Hopefully, we do have a few things coming out soon. Though I know
Yeah.
You're recording Iron Man 2 this week. So that
I am Iron Man. Yeah,
so that'll be interesting for
it fucking will be interesting.
countdown to Doomsday. I know the ladies of horror are trying to arrange for a day to record their Marvel
Ladies of
episode.
nerd culture.
Lady of Horror, that I call it. Sorry, Ladies of
Yeah.
Nerd Culture. Yes, they're looking to do that. Top Grumps will be. Well, I haven't had anything from them, so I don't know if there's going to be anything coming out. I'm trying to stop a cat from taking my laptop out here.
Hey, kitty cat.
Next week is going to be a bit of a different episode as well, because we're not doing a subject or a movie or anything. We've got the Women of Nerd Culture coming on this Sunday.
Oh, that's right. That's
So,
right.
so,
Showcasing our own.
so we're going to talk to them and see what they've been up to, what they've enjoyed. Basically, I'm going to grill them and say why, like, what it's like working for Nerdy Up North. I say work. It's not a job, is it? Yet.
No, it's not yet. No,
Mm-hmm.
but I have thoroughly enjoyed this way of doing research. Honestly, it's helped us
Mm-hmm.
know what I want to do in the future and
Right.
how I want to do it. Because this has been such a journey, and I've loved every second of it, and I can't wait to talk to the ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I talk to them anyway,
Mm-hmm.
I can't. But just to get their perspective
Mm-hmm.
on their little part of
Little
this
bubble.
nerd.
And
Yeah.
just saying what they've enjoyed, and because I don't think we've had really much of a conversation with many of the people who are involved with. We've got lots of moving parts, so it'd be a nice thing. And I know in a few weeks' time as well, if we can organise it, we are going to be having the top grumps on. So it'll be nice for Chris and Lee to actually be on a podcast rather than the
Yeah,
web
not a
series
web
as well.
series.
Yeah.
Yeah, come
So
and see what it's like. See if
yeah.
you like a taste of it. See if web series is how you want to continue. Oh, yeah,
So
how you are going to continue, actually.
see if we can just move them to one side and there. But yeah. So the audio for this will be going up when, Sammy?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
The audio actually this episode and Trek is the only ones going out this week. It goes up on a Tuesday. Remember, if you are listening to us on audio and you are going to not just Nerdy Up North, but Trekking Up North, or even Monsters Up North, or the Women of Nerd Culture, you need to type in the individual name in your audio platform searchy thingy because otherwise you'll not find them. Nobody would the only time we are under one bracket is YouTube. All the rest is all individual.
Yes.
You need to make that point every week. Every week.
Every week. But yes, thank you so much. And honestly, it's been crazy. There will be Ramble Castle as came out last week as well, so you've got that to go up as well.
Yes. Oh gosh, yes. Yeah. I only know when Ramblecast is going out is when Jake sends us an email.
Yes.
So and Jake's always very good at sending his emails. Aren't you, Jake? Aren't you, Jake? Send us the email. Yeah. If you're watching us on YouTube, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. If you are listening to on audio, hi, how you doing?
How are you
Give us a
doing?
like. Give us a like. Give us a heart. Give us a comment. Let us know what you think. Let us know in the comment section what you think of this movie. Let me know if the mass amount of information that I have provided today was necessary. Love to hear from you. Love to get your critique. But remember, don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick, yes. So same bat time, same bat channel.
Stay nerdy, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye.